Hi, good afternoon. My name is Ravi. I'm a member of Families for Freedom. Families for Freedom is an organization that grew out of the detention of immigrants. We were formed in 2002, and what happened is the people whose family were in detention, their father, their husbands, their sons, they started to come together to form a support group for each other, so that they can cry on each other's shoulders, so that they could know that they have the support of each other, and not only cry but take the next step, which is what to do about their families. And all of that grew an organization that was able to mobilize each other to fight the detention that we are undergoing right now. Personally, I have been in detention 2 years. I was just released. I see everyone turned around when I said that. Because it was the detention I came here. My first stop at 201 Varick Street. What they do is they take you and bring you in here, and they just process you with paperwork. Well, if you're lucky and you're fortunate enough to understand what is written, they just have you sign a document saying that you want expedited case, expedited hearing in front of a judge. If you're not fortunate enough to understand the English language, they sign you out and they deport you immediately. So from here, they took me to Bergen County, where I spent over 9 months. When my hearing actually took over 5 months, and what they will do is they'll bring you from Bergen County to Varick Street, where the immigration judges hear your case. 10, 20 people are put in a holding cell at one time. You stay there all day. You get up, they pick you up at 5 o'clock. They bring you here, and you don't leave until everyone has seen the judge, which means you're here until 4:30, 5 o'clock. And then they will shackle you. Now, being in a holding cell is fine, because when you're in front of the judge, you're actually shackled, hands and feet together around the stomach. This is a civil matter. This is a matter that, for an example, bankruptcy. It's not criminal, it's nothing to do, but it is a civil matter. And you are shackled, legs and feet, and you go in front of the judge in your orange jumper. You don't even change your suit. So right away, everyone sees you as you are wrong. That's if you're lucky enough to be only in front of the judge. If you have your family, you only allow 1 or 2 or 3 members of your family and friends to join you in the room. And they have to get permission. They have to stand outside, stay outside in the visitors area before they can be allowed in to see the judge, to sit with you and to be with you when you see the judge. And the judge tell you, Vermaker. I was in front of Vermaker. Really, really nasty guy. The courts have already sanctioned him a few times. The Second Circuit have sanctioned him, an immigration judge, a few times because of his procedures. Now we have the security here. I don't care what they hear, because it's the truth. Right? And he will tell your attorney, shut up. He told my attorney, shut up. He has told other guys who was there with me, their mom testifying, I don't want to hear what you have to say. Enough, get off. One friend of mine who was with me, he told me his case. He had his probation officer testifying for him, saying he has been a good guy, he has followed the rules, he has done this, he has done that. Pomaka said, you're lying, get off the bench. This is an immigration judge. You do not have the opportunity to state your case. And that's right here. Now, if you want to talk about detention standards, that's a different matter. In Bergen County, they moved us from the regular prison, and they built a fully steel annex and placed us in here. 120 to an annex, 2 annexes, complete steel. And the guys would be so mean that while I was there, they took the air conditioner off, not once, not twice, a few times just to play with us. And in so doing, they broke the machine, and we had to spend about 2 or 3 nights. Now, this is a place without any air. There is no ventilation. The only ventilation was the fans that came from the air conditioner. This was when it was summer, 190 something degrees outside here. Can you imagine what it was inside? And then when they did not allow us to leave the cells open, they shut the cells also. So in addition to not having any ventilation throughout the whole annex, we had to stay in a cell that was even more enclosed. The two sides of these two circular, whatever they call it. That's the size of your cell. You stay with someone else. And when they took us from Bergen County, they shackled us again. They placed us in buses. They're taking us from Bergen County to Alabama. And a bus, shackled, chained to each other, chained to the chairs. And now the chairs are not cushion seat, it was metal steel frames. And it was so tight that even a 4-foot person, 4'11" person had problems sitting between those seats. Much less for myself or Reverend Billy here. You won't be able to sit between those seats. So you're sliding and you're falling and twisting. They took us here, took us from Bergen County at 5 o'clock. And they drove us in straight to South Carolina, where they picked us up from there, took us to Alabama. Alabama, it wasn't as bad as the other places that holds immigration detention centers. But it was bad enough because they didn't have medical facilities. They didn't have proper food. They didn't have, the conditions were bare because it was a new facility, brand new, built in a car ship. So that when I was there, 1 year that I was there was a plague of cicadas. You know cicadas are crickets? Yes. They were walking on cicadas. They couldn't see any concrete. And they got into the ventilation system. They got everywhere where they died and they smelled. And when they died in that, they couldn't get the smell out. We still had to stay in that dormitory. We were not allowed. We were not allowed to get anything from our families. We were barely able to get our phone calls to them. One time when we were asking one time the guard beat up an inmate. And we started to say, we need to speak to the warden. Just to talk. We just wanted to say to the warden that this is not right. What are you going to do about it? What change are you making? And they pepper sprayed us. They bombed us with pepper spray in the dormitory. They locked us in. They turned the air off. They turned the water off. Now, the water, when you wash your face with the water, it actually relieves a little bit. So now there was no ventilation. Now there was no water, and we were stuck in that unit. Well, luckily for me, I was able to get in touch with my embassy, and then they called and they stopped. But when they stopped, they didn't just leave us and let us walk out. They threw us on the floor. They handcuffed us back to our backs and they dragged us at our necks from the dormitory into the rec yard, all of us. And when they placed us on the floor, they didn't just make us sit down, they had us face down. So already you couldn't breathe, but now you couldn't breathe because of the pepper spray plus the fact that you had your face against the concrete and you couldn't move. Your hands were knotted tightly. And it was a horrible experience. I could go on and on and on. I was able to
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you so much.